And Mark, T-minus 33 seconds.
TLS, go for ALS.
Automated launch sequence. So we are within that window now. This means
25.
They're tracking, they're going, they're getting ready. So there is nothing
20.
holding this thing back right now. We are moving forward through this. And we're expecting engine
15.
ignition at T-minus 6 seconds. So you'll see the RS-25s light up. So you see the...
TLS is go for core stage engine start.
Here we go. Core stage engine start. We have ignition of the core stage, my friends. Holy crap. And ignition. That is liftoff of Artemis 2. The first time humans are going back to the moon since 1972. This will be the furthest humans have ever flown away from planet Earth. Let's go, my friends.
Roger, roll pitch. Integrity, AMT high. AMT high.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? That is one of the most gorgeous launches I've ever seen in my entire life. That is the crew of Artemis 4 heading to the moon. Look at that glorious rocket flying, ascending, mostly powered right now under the power of those solid rocket
through max 2 on, possibly on.
They've made it through maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Loud and clear on, possibly on.
And they're
the same.
all right, loud and clear communications, that's excellent. Those solid rocket boosters are still propelling this thing for another minute or so, pushing the core stage further and further and faster and faster. You can just see it. You can see the trail behind it. It is absolutely glorious. You saw it roll when it took off the pad to line up on its azimuth and heading basically due east right now to be able to, it is pitching over to be able to accelerate because it has to accelerate horizontally. It needs a lot of horizontal velocity to get into orbit. And here it goes. So we're coming up. The next big milestone will be booster cutoff and booster jettison of the massive solid rocket boosters. So we'll hopefully actually be able to see that from down here even with our tracking assets. And here we go. That's going to be coming up here any second. And hopefully we hear that call out as well. Wow. That is SRB SEP 100%. Look at that. You can see the two solid rocket boosters now drifting away from the core, and now it's only powered by those 4 RS-25 rocket engines, continuing to push this thing into an elliptical orbit. This will actually burn all the way.
Integrity, guidance converged, performance nominal, upper stage RCS ready.
Yes!
Copy all, Stan.
Oh, we love to hear it. Everything is nominal.
Integrity, SM priming complete.
Service
priming complete.
Oh my word. That couldn't have gone better. So now this will continue to burn until about 8 minutes. They'll ride this thing for another 5 minutes, and that's going to put them into a highly elliptical orbit. It's going to be at about 2,000 kilometers in peak altitude, so 1,200 miles in altitude in an orbit. And that way, when they let go of the booster, the core stage, it's going to re-enter Earth's atmosphere and burn up intentionally so it doesn't become space junk. And they will have to raise their orbit and then start doing these progressive orbit raise maneuvers to be able to get out towards the moon, checking everything out, every system one at a time, including igniting the upper stage for a brief period to circularize or to raise the orbit so it doesn't re-enter.
Houston integrity, good last jettison, great view. Copy jettison, T-Eco 8 plus 02.
I can't believe it, I can still see it.
On board, Stan. And Houston has you loud and clear on Peters at the Carmen line.
At the Carmen line, my friends.
Outstanding, Stan. We have it.
You can see the shadows of the exhaust plume. That is just the coolest thing. I can still see this with my bare eyes right now, like just completely clear as day. This is the clearest sky I've ever seen in a rocket launch, and it happens to be at the most important rocket launch of my life. And I'm just standing here, able to just soak this in. This is a gift of all gifts. So thank you to everything in the world and everything in the universe that is lined up to make this just this absolutely beautiful moment where we're witnessing history again, seeing humans return to the moon, leaving low Earth orbit for the first time in my lifetime. This is absolutely enormous, guys. So again, they'll be riding that booster for another, coming up on 3.5 minutes.
Processing. Stan, we see the same, and we have a beautiful moonrise. We're headed right at it.
Wow. Oh, that's cool. Look at that tracking shot, by the way. You'll notice the exhaust gets so wide because once it's up in the above the atmosphere, there's no atmosphere to can squeeze in on the exhaust. So the exhaust is coming out of there. It's expanding. It's really hot. You know, it's a hot, high pressure gas.
10:30. 3-engine press.
3-engine press.
3-engine press.
I'm not sure what that means. Press would actually normally mean pressure. But 3-engine press, I don't know if that means they're not running on 3 engines versus, I'm not sure. We have some shots there of fellow members of the press. That was cool. Yeah, I mean, this is all going well. I'm not sure what 3-engine press is, and hopefully we'll get some other views from NASA as well, because they will be providing live views from inside the capsule quite often, is my understanding. But I need a vibe check here, guys. How is everyone feeling? Can you believe it?
Looking good at 6 minutes. Anyone board, Stan?
I'm like almost speechless because it just never is this perfect. Never. This rocket just took off right pretty much at the beginning of its launch window. All right, so we're getting a telemetry-based animation. This is probably going to make the flat earthers and stuff go, ooh. But the reality is at this point it's so far down.
Expect nominal shutdown.
Oh, there's another tracking shot. At this point, though, it's so far down that
nominal shutdown.
The tracking is just abysmal, right? So it gets so far downrange, and don't forget, unfortunately for us in our visual assessments and vantage point, the Earth is curved. They follow the curve of the Earth because they're getting into orbit. So that's all an orbit is basically making it so like your ballistic trajectory is going so fast that instead of falling back to Earth, you keep accelerating. Like imagine if you threw a football, you know, obviously it's going to go like this, or you shot a cannonball like this. But if you get above the atmosphere, where you no longer have the atmosphere to slow you down, and if you go 17,500 miles an hour, 28,000 kilometers an hour, and you're going that fast, you're basically just falling. And your trajectory, instead of it intersecting the ground, will now go around the Earth. And so that's why they have to accelerate. That's why it pitches over, and now it's all about that horizontal velocity, getting up to those magic words, you know, getting into orbital insertion. So that's
10:30. AOA open.
all right.
AOA open.
Angle of attack open? Or angle of attack open? Yeah, I mean, I can't even quite picture what that would mean. Abort ocean. Oh, wait, what? All olives available? Yeah, that's probably what it is. All olives are available at this point. So, yeah, that's good to know. Olive Garden's happy about that. They got the 3-to-1 going some weird Olive Garden rant. Okay, so we are coming up on core shutdown here any second. Will be when they shut off the RS-25 engines, placing them into a highly elliptical orbit, which is good. That is a good thing. We don't happen to have that internal upper stage shot anymore, do we? Oh, we do! And there it is. There is stage separation. That is the ICPS.
Nominal MECO core stage separated.
Let's go. We officially have core stage separation. That is the upper stage.
The same on board, Stan.
Separating from the core stage. So the animation there now is showing you basically what you were seeing from the inside. They were showing the inside there for just a second as it separated from the core stage. This appears to actually be that tracking shot. UFO. This is the secret UFOs. No, that's a tracking shot there. Probably a ground tracking asset. But here we are, my friends. Oh, sorry, I'm knocking around that camera again. Everything is looking absolutely fantastic. So they're basically going to be doing an orbit now, and they'll fire up the ICPS for just a moment. I probably can go sit back down, right? Give me a second.
And Terry Houston looking ahead to PRM numbers so far per the pad.